our sports flash. So very excited. This is our second sports flash, obviously on a different day. The points of the sports flash, we're just going to cover one topic. Big news today was the NFL just released their schedule for the 2021 season. So we're kind of excited just to look at each week, some of the key matchups, and basically how we feel about the upcoming season. Ron and Eric, as usual, on Sports Unfolded. So appreciate all our fans. And if you are tuning in, watch us on Sports Unfolded and on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We are trying something new today to see if that actually works as well. And then follow us on and then follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, and Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Also follow us on Rhode Island Broadcasting on Twitter as well. Really important. At Broadcasting RI on Twitter. Week one run. So a couple key matchups. Season opens up on a Thursday night with Dallas at Tampa Bay.
Oh yeah, I think that's the one everybody's looking forward to right now.
So
it's Dallas has got this hype going right now, and I don't understand why, because frankly I don't think they're going to do well this year.
Return of Dak.
Yeah.
But obviously, defending Super Bowl champions, they'll be raising a banner. You know how Tom always gets fired up about that. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other good games that week as well. I believe, is it Green Bay playing New Orleans that week?
They may be. Let's
because that would be
one
that I want to check out. See if Aaron
Green Bay
made it to the game.
Yeah, is he going to be there? That's going to be key. We don't know yet. That's I also wrote down, how about the Jets at Carolina? So Sam Darnold going against his former team, number one pick with the Jets.
Oh, if Sam Darnold
we'll see how that
up that week.
So that'll be interesting. How about Cleveland at Kansas City? That's an interesting divisional playoff rematch from last season where Cleveland almost beat Kansas City.
Played so well. I was so proud of them. I was hoping, but
we'll see. We'll have to see. Miami at New England. Again, that's division. Right off the bat, we feel like Miami. We discussed on previous shows how we feel about Miami.
I almost feel like they hardly ever play them week one. I think that it's usually like mid-season they start playing Miami.
No, not necessarily. Miami's usually one of our first games. Usually towards the end as well, which is what it's going to end up being week 18.
Yeah.
So in Miami as usual.
Before. Remember that one.
Week 2, Kansas City at Baltimore. That's a big game.
There's so many interesting matchups, and like Baltimore, they should have a really good team this year, and they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that is going to show whether or not they're going to kind of be pretenders or contenders. I mean, that's gonna tell us a lot. And even though it is at the beginning of the season, it's going to dictate where they go. And it's so important that they have at least a close game with Kansas City and then to adjust next time.
Week 3,
if they get blown out. Oh, sorry, Eric. But if they get blown out, it's pretty much curtains Baltimore.
Yeah, it could be. Tampa Bay at the Rams on week 3. So we know what Tom Brady did the last time he faced the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Again, these are two contending teams. Matthew Stafford, if he produces well for the Rams, these could be two championship teams, NFC championship teams. So that's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and I see Chicago is playing Cleveland. Now, normally I wouldn't, really care either way. But I think that one's an interesting one because, yes, okay, you have Cleveland that is an up-and-coming team already. Chicago, if they can play well, the first few weeks, I mean, this one could be a big one for them to see if they're ready or not. Because if they can't beat Cleveland, then it's it's just a building year like what they're
Yep.
supposed to be doing.
And I actually had that as my next game on that week.
See?
Fields returning to Ohio.
Yeah.
So Fields going back to Ohio, from Ohio State. So again, he's got something to prove to the fans over there as well.
Yes, absolutely. Cincinnati, by the way, is playing Pittsburgh that week.
Oh, could
In
be
case
an
anybody
interesting.
cares about Cincinnati or not, but
Yeah, and again, how Burrow comes back. Will Pittsburgh? We'll have to see what it's probably going to be one of those teams that we're going to be watching early to see what kind of how they respond.
Right, because I'm
Week
not sold
4.
on Pittsburgh.
Week 4. If you can't see everything in behind me, Tom Brady returns to New England. So Tampa Bay at New England. Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady. The matchup that most people have wanted to see now for about a year or so. Comes early. Feelings?
Well, by week
Save
4,
some for our face-off.
Week 4, by then, we will know whether or not it is Cam staying as quarterback or Mac Jones is
Interesting.
quarterback.
Could we see Mac Jones versus Tom Brady? The past versus the future?
Because if you think about it, okay, so if Cam Newton is indeed the starter, I figure he's got 3 weeks to prove himself. If you start out 0-3, you're not playing in that Tom Brady game. You're not playing.
That doesn't happen. I really do.
No, and I don't either. I am not a Cam fan, but I do not want to see the Patriots go 0-3. That would be terrible because then they'd step into this game and then they'd be 0-4.
Yeah.
So,
so
I don't want that.
We're on every Friday night at 9 p.m. Our face-off next this week will be Tom Brady versus Belichick, and we'll be arguing that. So we'll save a little bit of that for Friday night.
Jesus.
Week 5, Buffalo at Kansas City, a rematch of the AFC Championship game.
It's gonna be hype. Like anytime Kansas City is playing in the AFC, it's great. But when you have rematches, it just makes it special. Come on, it's Mahomes. You want to see that. He's just a great player as it is, and why would you not want to tune in for a rematch game? Buffalo played pretty well, but they just couldn't hang with, Kansas City's offense. You just couldn't.
This will be the key to see if they're actually contenders again. I think this will be a game, even if they lose this game, to keep it competitive. They lost pretty bad in the AFC Championship game. Yes. If they could keep it competitive, show that they took that next step, obviously be something interesting to watch.
Right, it would be. And I have mixed feelings about whether or not I want Buffalo to succeed either. So so it's like you want them to beat Kansas City, but you don't really want them to because they're in the.
We need them to lose as many games as possible.
Right.
Dallas at New England, week 6.
I love that.
That should be a fun game.
I just don't. I'm still not sold on Dallas. I'm sorry, I'm not sold on Dallas.
I think just the fan factor in that game. America's team, how those fans come out, but how those us Patriot fans come out as well.
Versus the team that should be America's team.
Yes. So
didn't they win it back when the September 11th season? Remember?
It's been a while.
That should be America's team. Patriots.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I agree. Week 7, Detroit at Rams, at the LA Rams. So Jared Goff gets to face his old team, and Stafford gets to face his old team. So it's the flip-flop of quarterbacks. That should be an interesting one on week 7.
Yeah. I'm not really expecting much out of Goff this year. I'm sorry. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just don't think he's on a good team right now.
But you also look at that motivation factor of just to say, hey, look what you gave up. So I mean, he did get him to a Super Bowl. So I'm just curious how he would come and respond, especially since he's going home. That one's pretty interesting. Week 8, Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
So New Orleans beat them twice last season in the regular season, and then obviously lost in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they had, I think, New Orleans.
No Drew Brees.
Year, they could have won the Super Bowl if they could have gotten to Tampa Bay, but they didn't. I mean, that's just how it is. And now they don't have Drew Brees. I don't see this as even a competitive game, to be honest with you.
What about Week 8, 49ers at Chicago? So you might have the first time Lance. So Trey Lance might be, by that point, I would expect Jimmy G to be hurt. And Fields. So you get your matchup there. That'd be pretty interesting to see how that works out.
It could happen. I actually think it will be Lance. I think they just did Jimmy G kind of wrong. I think they should have just traded him and brought in, whoever they wanted at the time and done it that way. I think they just made an awful spectacle out of themselves by the way they handled everything. And I mean, how are you going to do that? You have a young quarterback. You just paid him a ton of money, and now you just push him aside for this kid to come in. And it's like, how does Jimmy feel? Now I know he's saying all the right things in public, but he's not happy. He's not.
I mean, if Jimmy stays healthy, and I mean, they're a very good team.
I know they are.
So I can't see them putting Lance in this early. I mean, it'd have to be an injury, but it's just intriguing to see what could happen with that.
Yeah, and I mean, he is injury prone. I mean, it's just how it is. And it's too bad because he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not in there long enough to say so.
Week 9, New England at Carolina. Cam Newton returns back home. If he's still the starting quarterback at that point, to your point.
Whoever starts week 1, I hope they stay in there for the entire season, because then that means they did well. So I'm not wishing, horrible things on Cam. I'm not wishing horrible things on Mac. Whoever starts, I really hope that they finish the season as the starter.
It'd be nice to see him go back home. I mean, Carolina, he did a lot in Carolina. So,
right. You think they're going
How
to
about Week 9, we also have Green Bay at Kansas City. So, again, if our friend there, Aaron Rodgers, is playing, that's a very interesting matchup, Week 9.
Yeah, a lot of people around the league think that he could get moved. I mean, Denver seems to keep circulating.
Yes, a lot.
And that seems to come up. I think if there's going to be a team that does it, it's either Denver or the Raiders.
Yeah, it could be. Week 10, the Rams at the 49ers. So that could be that's a big NFC West matchup. They're both contending teams for the West. Week 11, New England at Atlanta.
Yeah, that's also the Thursday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
It may well be, yes.
Yeah, I believe that's the Thursday night game on NFL Network or whatever that network is. I don't know.
It is the Thursday night game. How many 28-3 references are we going to hear that week?
Probably a lot of them.
So I just found that interesting, facing them again. Week 11, Jules' old number with that Jules catch in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. Like, is Julio Jones still gonna be there? There's a lot of things
a lot of talk about him getting traded as well. Yes, and possibly to New England.
It's not even going to be a good game.
Possibly to New England.
Well, that would be good. Ooh, that would be really good, actually.
Week 12, Cleveland at Baltimore. You're talking about those AFC North teams, and this could probably be the tipping point on which one of these teams is actually, the favorite. So
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking what Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, let's not count out Cincinnati, even though they didn't get an offensive line. That goes without saying. But I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, like any team can sneak up on somebody else in this division, and it seems like this might be one of the better divisions this year.
I,
Um, I can't think.
I'm just questioning Pittsburgh. I'm not sure Ben Roethlisberger what he's got left. That would be my
Oh,
question, is to see
exactly.
what he has. And then I think Cincinnati's good. I don't think they're they're not Cleveland, Baltimore
No,
good.
no, no, no.
So I think it's between those two teams. Week 13, New England at Buffalo. So AFC East
That's a big
division
one. Hopefully,
winners.
that's a big one.
So that hopefully at that point, both of those teams are still in contention, and that should be interesting.
And I think that's what it's going to. I think that is going to come down, to what wins that division. To be honest with you, I think these two teams will be 1-2. I don't really know if the Patriots can overtake Buffalo this year. It really depends on quarterback play. To be honest, that's and that's big. And all those pickups that they got on offense, are they going to be able to actually gel together, learn the system? You know, we'll know by then. I mean,
Yes,
obviously,
week 13 we
but
should.
I think Buffalo is still the better team, sort of, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
no, I got you. I got you. So here's the interesting thing. Week 14, though, Buffalo at Tampa Bay. Could be looking past New England because they're going to be facing Tampa Bay.
Right.
So I'm kind of looking forward to the Week 14 matchup as well. Buffalo at Tampa, because that could be a possible Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, and it would have been interesting to see if Buffalo would have been able to contain Tampa Bay. Um, I mean, Tampa Bay played a great game in the Super Bowl. I know Buffalo got destroyed. It wasn't a close game against Kansas City, but I don't know. I think Buffalo is suited to play against a Tampa Bay rather than a Kansas City. Like, I mean, the offenses are both good. It's just that they're different. And the Kansas City Chiefs are more explosive with the speed and everything, and that they couldn't compete with that. I think Tampa Bay was a little slower and I guess bigger is what So I think they were more well suited to play a team like that, and it could have been an interesting game.
Week 14 as well, Baltimore at Cleveland. So you think 2 weeks go by in Baltimore, Cleveland again?
Yeah, that's. I
That
mean,
could be whatever team. If one of those teams could take both of those games, they're probably the division winner.
absolutely, and that's gonna dictate that whole division. Really, 3 week span. You're getting those two games, and if they split, no harm, no foul. But if they don't, and somebody like you said does sweep the both games, they're winning that division. And I'm leaning actually towards Cleveland in this.
Seattle at the Rams on week 15. Again, the West. I think all those teams are pretty competitive. The Niners, the Rams, Seattle. So you're it's a very good division. New Orleans at Tampa as well on week 15. Again, to your point, we'll have to see what New Orleans is. But
Yeah,
that could be an
I don't
interesting one
know,
again.
Steve. I don't see them. I don't see them doing much of anything. I I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, you get a drop off, just like the Patriots went through. I think it's going to be a lot of the same result. I think it's going to be a very underwhelming season for New Orleans, and I, I'm thinking they might come in last in that division.
Wow.
Maybe beating out one team.
Week 16, Buffalo at New England.
Buffalo at New
So
England.
that's a two games in 4 weeks.
Yep. And again, this could be the same situation as Baltimore Cleveland. These two teams could be battling for that division, and these games are going to dictate, who's going to come out on top. And then you just got to hope, whoever does not, can grab a wild card spot, and that's, you never know.
Week 17, Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. So again, not knowing what Green Bay is going to be, that could be for that division.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that Minnesota didn't draft a quarterback, like one of the, because they had a chance of getting one, and I think, it's tough because they're in a position where their defense is so good that you can just have an average quarterback, which I believe that's what they have.
Yeah, Cousins. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I would have liked to seen them grab a quarterback and seeing what happened. You got to keep Cousins on his toes. I mean, if he's going in there thinking he's already the quarterback, then I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing.
So this is a 17 game season now. So we have a week 18.
Yes.
So this is different. Week 18, yeah. Washington at the Giants. So if you think about that division, those are probably the two best teams in that division.
Yeah, I don't think it's
that could be a fun week.
Yeah, it's gonna be New York. I think by week 18, New York is gonna rest some players.
Fitzmagic, you're not believing in Fitzmagic?
No.
New England at Miami.
He'll throw 3 picks that game.
New England at Miami. That could be for a playoff spot.
Yes, it could. And like I know I kept talking about, Buffalo and New England, but there is that Miami team that has a pretty decent team down there, and they could make some noise. I mean, I don't think they're as good as Buffalo and New England, but we've seen New England go in there on the final game of the season and lose.
Yeah. What about Seattle at Arizona?
Seattle at
and we really haven't talked about Arizona
actually, but I like Arizona. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
So that one could be an interesting one for a division.
They might even win that division.
They very well could. We talked about their key pickups: Watts, AJ Green. I really like what they're doing in Arizona.
Yeah, again, we keep talking this. It's like beating a dead horse. If Watt can stay healthy, I think the team wins the division. If he doesn't, oh well, next year.
So a couple of honorable mentions here. How about week 1? We get Jacksonville at Houston. So Trevor Lawrence's first game.
Yes.
Good chance he could win that. We know the Deshaun Watson story. We don't know what Houston's going to be, so that could be interesting. And then Chicago at the Rams, so Fields. And then obviously we already talked about the Jets playing at the Carolina Panthers.
Playing the Rams first. I mean, talking about testing what you're made of, right? I mean, Fields has to go in against a very tough St. Louis defense with a lot of good players on that defense, and they're going to be going after him. So is he going to panic? Is he going to do all that? I don't know. I think he's going to be okay, and I would not be surprised if they beat the Rams, because Chicago has its own defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they can stuff you.
They can. They very well can. So if you're just joining us, this is a Sports Unfolded Sports Flash. Again, we're not on at our normal regular time. We are doing we broke down the NFL scheduling today as it was just released at 8 p.m. Kind of excited to see where the season goes. Obviously, we still got some time to go. Season doesn't kick off till September 9th.
Oh my gosh.
So we've still got some time to wait to see all this play out on the field. But if you are joining us and you'd like to watch our show, we are on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Sports Unfolded and on Instagram at Sports_Unfolded. You can also follow us on Twitter on Rhode Island Broadcasting RI. That's Rhode Island Broadcasting's Twitter page. If you are going to join us this Friday at 6 p.m., we're going to talk about the Celtics struggle, MLB protocols. Should they change NHL playoffs, which is a little weird right now because there'll be some regular season games. Yeah, the Bruins. Our pick and roll will be all-time number 13 since it will be our 13th show, so we're kind of excited about that. And we'll break down the Patriots' schedule and how we feel they're going to finish the season, what we think their record will be. So once again, thank you for joining us on our Sports Flash on Sports Unfolded. We hope to see you on Friday night to comment. Make sure, leave us some messages, and we will gladly reach out to all our fans. Ron, thank you for joining. Fans out there, you have a great night.
Good night, everybody.